Yes, I am May Ling Evans and I'm the chairperson of the Chinese Community Centre in Newport. And I was born and bred in the UK, right in the Welsh Valleys, in the Rhondda Valleys in Pentre. I just want to thank the Heritage Lottery for the activities now that we venturing on. We have 18 months, and of course it's the Modan and Daffodil, which we have going at the moment. Importantly at the moment is to go into the situation of how and when Chinese first came to UK, and especially now to Wales. People who came here were from many parts, and even now many parts of China, not just Canton like the people we knew originally. And the projects now is really establishing their lives, the older people that came and the younger ones today, involving all kinds of jobs that they're doing. The laundries initially, then the restaurants, then the takeaways, then students, and of course the parents of the children of today, which have done extremely well. You'll find that the children of the laundries and the restaurants and takeaways they desire further education. They desire to, most of them are professionals now. And of course, as the time goes on and hearing about various Chinese individuals, you will hear more about them, because each one will be talking about how they came and how they felt when they were here. And sometimes in the beginning it can be quite lonely. It could be really quite lonely for people, because they're all immersed in their work, especially the restaurants and the takeaway, and really very hard working in this area. But all want their children to do well, and really and truly most of them have done very well and excelled, in fact. So we are going to continue with this project here now of people's lives and their families. And of course it's important that the Chinese language and culture is preserved. Actually, before I could speak English, I was speaking Chinese, but when I was a child and went to school, English came quite naturally, no problem at all. And you will find this with most families. Although they speak Chinese to their parents, they equally can speak just as well in English. I think it's very important to know who you are, but at the same time, we must remember our roots. And I believe, because I'm very much that way. People say, who am I? Of course, I'm Chinese, but I usually say Chinese Welsh. I'm Chinese Welsh. And why we're settling here, we're our nation. We're open, and in the sense that we immerse ourselves in this host country, because our family and many families, Chinese families, are very happy in this country, in Wales, and you will find that repeatedly. Well, as a Chinese living in this country, don't forget your roots, but also immerse yourself in the environment you're in, and also work hard, especially if you're studying. Study hard, work hard, and you will get good results. And it's very important to, although you perhaps some of the parents do not speak English, it's very important to speak Chinese to your parents and family and friends that are Chinese, because therefore, like me, you'll increase your learning. My father always taught me, always remember we're Chinese, but always remember to do well and be a good person in the country you're in. Thus, always he gave me that advice. And I believe you're never too old or too young for the youngsters to give this advice, because in order to walk the right way, in order to be an upright, standing person, you must do what this country asks of us. I had a very happy childhood with my 3 sisters and 1 brother, Ron, and my parents. We had a laundry. It was started by my grandfather. He came over in 1903, I believe. He came here for about 7 years and returned to China. Of course, everybody knows that the laundries at that time is very hard working, and the Chinese, when they came over, they always had something to do. You know, in the sense they said, right, we can't speak English, what can we do? Right, we'll work. And as you know, Chinese are very hard-working people. He just got down, and he and another Chinese man had this laundry. However, so my parents, of course, my father came over when he was about 11, went to Welsh school in Wrexham. He was very good in maths, but of course he didn't have the opportunity to have a higher education, simply because he had to help his father to work in the laundry. But as I said, he was very, very good in maths. His English wasn't too bad. My father was a rough diamond. Very good father, good husband, and a very good worker. You know, when I was a naughty girl, I smacked a boy because he made my sister and brother cry. My father said, you must never ever smack any child. Ni mo kodo fat. He said, they mustn't do that. We're the only Chinese in Pentra, he said. And they what is he told me? He said, you shame our Sito name, and not only our Sito family, all the Sitos throughout China. You shame. And he said, don't ever, ever smack anybody again. But he's right to tell me off. See, and it's always right to see that my father was cross with me. So that's why my father was always, any Chinese in this country, you must always obey the law, always. You see, and so that was my father. Yes, I do agree that young children should be taught that. They should be taught how to behave, and they should ought to be told to work hard and learn, because all the older generation did. That's why they came to this situation. That's why they worked hard, from laundry, restaurant, takeaway, and then students and graduates, and then being a professional person. That's what the Chinese families always hope the children will do, better than themselves. And I think that's a good goal. And personally, I've known many youngsters who, from a very hard-working family and even very poor families, have done well, because rather than go out and play in the evenings, they knew if they don't want to work like their parents, work hard. And I think all children, really, to be honest, it wouldn't hurt to be told this and encouraged. And I think family values are very important. I think we're always taught to respect our elders, respect our parents, and of course respect each other, whoever we are, whatever nationalities you meet, whoever people you meet. Respect is very important, because remember, as Chinese, we're standing out for the Chinese. I mean, if you behave badly, they'll always remember Chinese behave badly. Therefore, I've always believed this. Good manners, good behaviour, good attitude. I think that's the whole essence of life, really. And so our young people, as I said, are very important. And I'm sure they realise that being Chinese, you can hold your head up high if you adhere to what you should be doing. And so therefore that was my life in the Rhondda Valleys, and very happy. And of course we went to the school there, and of course learned a bit of Welsh. I like Welsh. Some of the phrases are similar to our Cantonese dialect. So it was, as I said, a happy childhood, and therefore I went back then to China at the age of 9 to see what China's all about. My father's always on about China. A very, he loved China, and therefore he didn't, as a friend said, why not enter and be an Englishman or a Welshman? Oh no, I'm a Chinese man and always be a Chinese man. But I love Wales. I got many friends in Wales at the time, because he spoke English and of course mother didn't. So of course her friends were very, well, hardly any really, except the friends of my father, who were very kind and helped her along. There was laundries in every town and county in UK, Wales and even Scotland. And most of them are from the Canton area at the time, Cantonese, because most of the laundry people spoke Cantonese, our dialect, Toisan. So of course I went to China, came back. As a child I thought China was very interesting, and I went barefoot like all the other children. I found it very interesting. Spent about 3 years there, then came back. At the time, that situation, we went back in 1949. Situations weren't very good there, but we went there. My grandma was there at the age of 79, and in the villages there, and people really were mostly rice farmers. Really, most of the people were rice farmers in the Cantonese area, and I've never forgotten. Even to this day, I can remember when we went on the boat, the day we went and the day we came back. It's always very fresh, and I being born in this country, I'm very interested in the Chinese and China itself. Even now, I like to see how it's progressing, and it seems, as we know, that they're progressing very well, and my father said it would progress well. That was about 40, 50 years ago then. And so come back to the UK as a person. Came back when I was 12, missed my 11 plus unfortunately, and but never mind, I was put in an all-girls school, and it wasn't very academic. You can see it wasn't very academic because I always came top except maths. So it was a very interesting time. And so then I did my, I did my O-levels then when I was about 27. I really wanted a career. Very difficult, because when I came back I couldn't speak English, couldn't write English. And my maths was really down, so graded. However, I managed and did a crash course for a year, got a couple of O-levels, and of course I went nursing, which I was very happy, and of course missed it when I retired. I did my training at Charing Cross, did my midwifery in Cardiff because I wanted to come back home. Having just become a Christian. I just wanted to tell my parents all about it. Although they said I could have, why didn't I stay in London? No, London wasn't my scene. I just wanted to tell them about the faith. And happily, my father died a Christian. My mother was baptised by a Chinese pastor, Pastor Chung, in the Welsh Evangelical Church here in Newport. So it was all right, it was quite right. However, then of course, after retiring, before I retired, I really wanted to set up a a community centre or a community-based, simply because when my mother came here in the 1930s, up in the Rhondda Valleys, she had really no friends, no Chinese friends, worked very hard. And I thought that being there more Chinese now in many parts of the UK now, and many students also, that also while we were in church, Emmanuel Church, people used to come and say, could you read my letters or take mother or father to the doctors? Of course I can't read or write Chinese, but Pat Lin, who is the secretary of the Newport Chinese Community Centre, was always there. Plus we had quite a few students who were learning their trade here in the UK, in universities and colleges, and they, in our Chinese fellowship in Evangelical Church in Newport. So they were ready to read the letters, and some would take them to perhaps see the GP or doctor, or even perhaps the passports needed processing to update. And of course Pat was there. She's been a wonderful help too in the Chinese Community Centre. Excellent actually, and she used to translate Chinese where I couldn't, but I was there to support her. And of course the Chinese students were very good. They were leading the church then. We had quite a few lovely Christians there. So that was the Chinese fellowship in the church in Newport. And then of course, being that this was quite frequent, I thought we need a centre. But I did ask, would anybody start? And of course everybody was working. I suppose they'd like to do it, but they didn't have the opportunity. In restaurants and takeaways, people work very hard. And of course, to have the time to set up a community centre, it's quite complex setting up a community centre. I was very fortunate. I really had people who were able to do this. And of course, so therefore we started, we managed to have a place in Newport. 2003, we set up in one of the listed buildings in Newport. And of course, there was Pat. We also had Vera Davis, who was our treasurer, excellent person. She was also a retired teacher, maths teacher. And of course, and then we were also very, very fortunate to have Connie Ho, who was excellent. She was a person that was very forward. She also was a nursing also in Hong Kong, and I'm sure she must have been a wonderful nurse. However, she was a person that managed to sort all our funding and all that kind of business she attended. And of course it started, we had many activities there at the time, and teaching English, conversational English. There was no exams. It's simply to lead the folk to go to the GPs, see solicitors, see doctors, and there's no exams, as I said, but it helped them to mix with other Chinese people, and that was the main thrust of the work. And the activities, we had many Chinese children there, and they were very active, and it was good that the parents were very willing, and of course many parents used to come too. We even had toddlers, and later on, of course, we had Connie's son, Enoch, and of course he was a student, and also he's later become a graduate, and of course he came to help us, a great help indeed. Subsequently, his wife Gloria also was involved, and of course the team was getting bigger, because also the people coming were getting bigger. And of course Enoch taught quite a lot in IT, as well as many activities which Enoch did. Took the men to see doctors, or perhaps solicitors, or translate for them, read letters, In fact, now he did so well. Now he's our manager. He tells us what to do now. So really and truly, it's gone on quite well, and especially now our funding. And I must say thank you to Connie for doing a great work, together also with Enoch in helping to get funding, and which we are in the middle of now at the moment.